Welcome to Rubens Nest, Uniquely Yours, a show designed for the plus-sized community. All the ladies are in the nest. Welcome back, Chevondalyn. Today, we're celebrating men with a little guy talk. The month of June is when we celebrate Father's Day, but it's also Men's Health Month. As always, the ladies like to put their own spin on topics. Today is no different. Join us as they chat with their in-studio guest, Scott Marshall, about being a dad, recovering from the loss of his wife, health, fitness, and his journey as a big man. Also on tap, a special interview with the co-creators and producers of Cookin With Cutty, as they celebrate 20 years on air promoting healthy and nutritional lifestyle choices for children and their parents. There's a lot of show ahead, so sit back, relax, and let's welcome the ladies, Cydia, Chevondalyn, and Tamia. Take it away, ladies.
Hello there, and welcome to Rubens Nest. The girls are both back. Hallelujah.
Hey!
So, Miss Chevondalyn.
Yes, ma'am.
I think the last show you did was January?
Yes.
Oh my God, can you
shows
believe
I
that?
missed.
She's missed 3 shows.
We missed her.
And we have missed
I
you.
missed you guys too.
So how are you feeling?
I feel amazing now. I'm so happy that I feel better.
Yes.
So I can start living my life and not be in pain all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is so
that's
good. I am
awesome.
so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, having surgery is never fun, but sometimes it's necessary.
Yes.
It's necessary. So I'm so grateful though that, you went through it. You look fabulous.
Thank you.
And we're glad that you're back. And we have missed you.
Yes.
It has been so, I don't know, boring? No, it hasn't.
No, I don't believe that.
No, it's not at all boring. No, we missed you. We missed that little Chevondalyn spark. That's what's been missing.
Yes.
Definitely. Because you know what? Today we were chatting, and I had to say, Miss Tamia, did you see the last show? Man, she has stepped up.
That's my girl.
She took over.
I was surprised, y'all. I surprised myself. Because y'all don't understand the behind the scenes, before the scenes. Oh. Talk myself out of it. No, I can't do it. Oh, no. What? We doing what? No. But, I don't know.
Something came over you, and wow.
Wow, yeah. I think it was because the subjects were good. Not that our other subjects are not good. It was just that it was exciting to talk about different things, our world, bigger people, bigger things. And we were just, I don't know, highlighting those different things.
Right.
And there were new, exciting things. And then I'm always comfortable to share about my own personal self.
Right.
And so I felt to share. And so, yeah. I just felt
It was great. It was really great. So if you haven't had a chance to see the show, it's out there.
Please do.
Yeah. So you might notice that there's someone here who we normally don't have guys on the show.
Okay. Yes.
And so today we have with us Scott, and we are really thrilled to have you here with us.
Thank you.
And the reason is, as you know, there is the International Women's Day in March that we celebrated, and we also celebrated moms, because of the month of May, and we have to be fair, and we have to do the same for men.
Of course.
Now, there is actually an International Day for men, but that's not until November 19th. And for that show, maybe we'll throw in a little something and highlight guys that are doing really fabulous and wonderful things to make a difference in the world.
Yes.
But June has Father's Day,
Yes.
and it's also Men's Health Month.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It definitely.
so definitely we figured, you know what? Let's invite a guy on the show.
Yes.
We actually wanted to invite more guys, but they were involved in guy things.
Life happens.
Yes, it does.
It happens. But Scott is a trooper, and he's here.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We're really thrilled to have you here. So Scott,
Yes.
here at Rubens Nest, we're vying for the full-size community, which includes men as well. The take is always a little different between the how full-figured women are viewed versus how full-figured men are viewed. And some of our issues are always, like I said, what is it? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, kind of thing. So even in how we look, how we feel, what we do, health, fitness, so forth and so on, is always different.
Okay.
The thing with us here, we want to encourage and promote, people to be their best selves, no matter what size they are, no matter what they've gone through in life. And so we approach, with that attitude that we're not here to lecture, we're not here to tell you to diet or do anything. We're here to tell you be your best self. And we share our stories.
Yes.
Some stories are good, some stories are not, some stories are sad. So we're glad that you're here, and we hope that you'll feel free to share stories.
Thank
Okay.
you. I'm excited to be here.
So,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I can tell a little bit, or I can tell a lot.
Will you tell a little bit, and then we'll start jumping in.
You guys, whatever you guys
You
want.
got
A little bit about me.
All right.
Right now in my life, I'm a single father. I have 3 boys, 21, 14, and 11. My 14-year-old is going to be 15 here this month.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
My 11 was going to be 12 in September, and my 21
Slide month.
just turned 21 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
And I raised them on my own. My wife passed away 7 years ago, so I've been on my own for the past 7 years, just doing my thing, raising them the best way I can for them to grow up to be respectful young men. In my past, so I grew up in Orange County. I've lived in California my whole life, with the exception of 4 years. I lived in Montana on my own. I got a job in Yellowstone, and I worked in Yellowstone Park for a summer. And on the drive back from California, I went through Montana, and a friend of mine lived there, and I stopped in to see him, and I ended up staying there.
Oh, not too shabby.
Yeah.
How was that?
Not too bad. I got a job there. I was on a volunteer fire department.
Oh,
So I've been a firefighter and EMT.
Wow.
And kind of the ocean was just calling me back. I kind of missed being here, so I moved back. I moved back here, and from there, when I moved back, I had some odd jobs and stuff, and then I met my wife, and we got married. She already had my oldest son, 21. He was 3 when I met her,
Okay.
so I raised him his whole life. And then we had my 2 other sons, Bryson and Bradley. They're all BRs. Brandon is the oldest, Bradley is the middle, and Bryson is the youngest.
I love that. Sounds like our family.
Yeah. So going back, I grew up in Orange County. I went to Calvary Chapel High School. I went to a private school there and played football, and then just did odd jobs here and there. And like I said, moved to Yellowstone, and then moved back here. Got married. I was married for about 10 years, and unfortunately, my wife passed away. She committed suicide, and But it was a time in my life where I just needed to, I needed to get down there with my kids. My kids were the first thing in my life. I worked on me for a little while, and then but always focusing on my boys.
Okay.
So I've had them. So that's just a quick little synopsis.
Okay.
So,
when I hear Yellowstone, I don't know why,
Yeah.
Yogi.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that came to mind, Yogi Bear in
let's
Yellowstone
Yogi Bear.
Park.
The greatest thing about Yellowstone Park, so when I went up there, they hired me as a busboy in a lake hotel. Beautiful. I've always been an outdoors kind of guy. Growing up, we had I had like dirt bikes and dune buggies, and we go to the desert out in Cabazon. We had this place in Cabazon where the dinosaurs are, off the 10 freeway there. This was just the brontosaur used to be there. It didn't used to be the T-Rex. So we go out there, and I always loved being in the outdoors. So my dream was always to move to Montana, and I made it happen by getting a job in Yellowstone. So working in a lake hotel, I went up there, and they interviewed us once we got up there. And I had been an assistant manager for a pizzeria here in California. They said, oh, well, then you're a waiter. You don't need to be washing dishes and doing that stuff. So immediately they made me a busser because I was hired as a dishwasher. I apologize for that. So I started bussing tables and worked really hard, and they moved me up to waiting. But the time you get to interact with a lot of different people from around the country, and it's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing the people you get to know about. But the funniest thing was they would always ask us. We were kind of tour guides as well because when we first started, we were there for 3 weeks getting training on the park on animals and everything that had to do with the park. And it was just immersive. It was great. So people would come in and they would say, we see all these bison everywhere and they're beautiful, but what are all those brown dogs that are following them?
What?
And
What
so
were they?
bison babies, they're brown and they're small. They look like a dog.
Oh.
And we're like, those are the bison babies. And they're just like, oh my gosh. So the big joke with the workers was like, oh, the little brown dogs. You know, it was great.
That's
but we had
funny.
full run of the park. You know,
Oh, nice.
I got to go hiking. And we did a midnight hike up this peak one time because that year was a blue moon. So it was the second full moon, and we did this hike at midnight and got up there like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we got to see the moon. It was
Must
amazing.
be awesome
It was
and
beautiful.
beautiful.
Beautiful there, yeah. I love
So,
it.
I love that.
so you said you played football.
Yes.
So were you a big guy then, or were you slender? Have you always been a big guy?
I've always been kind of well. So my freshman year in high school, I was kind of a runt. I was small. I played water polo, and I was in really good shape. I swam, I ran, I rode my bike everywhere. I was in really good shape, and I was in a public school at that time. And so I played water polo there. I did my freshman and sophomore year, and I was going to Calvary Chapel as a church. And so my sophomore year was the first year that Calvary had a high school. So they started their high school my sophomore year. And God's plan is just, you know, I'm just going to back up, let him take over.
Yeah.
And so our neighbors across the street growing up, you know, the Hurley T-shirts and stuff, you know, Hurley clothing line?
Yes.
Yes.
Bob Hurley and Shelley, they were our neighbors across the street.
Oh.
At the time, Bob just kind of had a shaping room, and he would shape surfboards, and that was his thing. And he had Hurley T-shirts.
Okay.
And but then I think he went to Pepperdine, and he got his MBA, and Billabong hired him, and he was the national president for Billabong, and so they had, you know, he made really good money, and so their kids went to the Maranatha Christian Academy, which is Calvary, and then Calvary opened. So they moved away and just lived kind of down the hill from us there. We were in Costa Mesa, and you go down the mesa there, and there was some nicer houses. They moved in there, and they got wind that I would like to go to Calvary Chapel. So they brought me and my mom down there. My parents had divorced at that time. My parents got divorced when I was 16, and I was a sophomore in high school. So my mom and I went down to their house, and Shelley sat us down, and they said, we want Scott to go to Calvary. We're going to pay for it. So my junior and senior year, I got to go to Calvary Chapel,
Awesome.
and I played football there, and something happened between my sophomore and junior year where I just kind of went and filled out. So I went from about 175 pounds my freshman sophomore year to 220 pounds
Wow.
my junior year, and I wasn't like I didn't have this right
No,
now.
you probably were muscle.
I was more muscular. Yeah, we were lifting and running, and I was in better
right.
shape. But I played
Yeah.
offensive line. Both, you know, my career, and I played offense and defensive end.
Okay.
Did that. It was great my junior and senior year, and then from there, school wasn't my forte.
Mine
time-
either.
at the time-
No.
At the time, so I was done with football when I got out of high school, but I still enjoyed it, so I kind of did some coaching here and there. And my high school coach came to me, and I'm not upset with him, but I'm like, why? He came to me and said, you know, you had schools looking at you for why didn't you do better in school? I'm like, why are you telling me after we graduated?
I know.
So, but that's it. Nothing on him was all on me.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
completely 100% on me. You know?
Right.
So I moved on, and then now when we got married, Brandon, my oldest, he didn't play any sports, but we got him into soccer. He played soccer, and I knew nothing about soccer, so I just signed up and just did some stuff like putting up nets and things. And then we had Bradley signed up for football right before Leslie passed away. So I already did some interviews, and I got on the coaching staff, and I was going to coach the offensive line. Leslie passed away, and the coach called me and said, "Hey, man, you're done. You know." I said, "No, man, I signed up for it. I'm going to do it. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it."
Okay.
So that was part of my healing process too.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yes.
it was great for me, man.
Right.
And I got to tell you, man, the Pop Warner community is awesome.
Close knit.
Close,
family.
you know. I get a little like work. I mean, it's weird because I'm okay. I'm kind of emotionally. I still love my wife and everything, but I can talk about that. But when I talk about my friends and stuff helping me, I get. You know, it's like so. They were a big, huge part of my life, and they stepped in, and I was out there coaching the kids. They're doing great. That first year, we had a great season. I don't think we won any championships. We had a winning season, and that Christmas, the moms came over to my house and completely decorated my house.
Oh, I love it.
They called me up and they said, "We're going to do this for you. You can't say no, but don't let the kids know." So I took the kids out, and we went driving, and the kids were like, "We want to go home." Like, not yet. So
Not
we
knowing
kept,
that big surprise.
exactly. So we kept driving around. We came home, and it was like a winter wonderland in my house. So it was so
That
amazing.
is so
It
precious.
was amazing.
Awesome.
It was amazing. So, like I said, that was a big healing part too. So I still had a good family.
I love that.
Because my family's kind of spread out. My mom, at the time, she lived in Las Vegas. Now she lives in Australia. My sister, close to my sister, she lives in San Juan Capistrano. My dad lives in Riverside. But it's always just kind of, I don't have a big family.
Yeah.
And that was what I liked about my wife. She had a big family. We always had a big family function. We had our wedding in Palos Verde at the church.
Oh yeah, the glass church on the way.
The church on the way. Yeah,
that's a beautiful, beautiful church.
And the funny thing is that she had a sister, and I was working with a buddy of mine at the time. We were really good friends. Guys get together, and he'd be dating somebody like, "Shake, you got a friend?" And it was always like, "No, for me." But I started dating Leslie, and my buddy Ed. He's like, "Hey, she got a friend? You got a sister?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Turns out she has a sister." So we hooked them up. We had a double wedding.
Oh,
So their parents got a 2-for-1.
Okay.
The church on the way, and her aunt Betsy is extremely wealthy. Her dad, or her husband, Betsy's husband, had like all these oil fields in the early 50s and 60s. So she lives in Palos Verde Estates, and we had the reception on the tennis court there.
Oh,
it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
It was great. So
wedding.
that was what I liked, and it was like all her family. It was a big family, and I got along with all of them. It was great. But
so Scott, you talked about healing, and we know they don't know, but there is a little bit of sadness there.
Yes.
Can you tell us about how it is that you became? You've come to be a single dad, and share.
Sure. Let me think. So how it was basically kind of just thrown on to me. I had many decisions I needed to make in my life, but the decisions weren't mine to make for me. They were mine to make for my children, my boys. I immediately focused on them. It's like, hey, let's go out and have a drink. I don't want to go out and have a drink. I want to get through this. I want to feel this. You need to feel it. I think you can't mask something like that.
no.
There's not going to be some magic pill that you're going to throw at it. You're not going to drink and forget about it, because when you're sober, it's still there.
Yeah, but
So-
the healing is to actually feel it.
Yeah, so you got to feel that pain, and you got to work it out. You got to
Right.
work out how you're going to deal with that.
Yeah.
Some people work out with alcohol. Some people work out with pills, and that's unfortunate, because like I
Right.
It's
said,
very unfortunate.
it's gonna be there when they get done.
Yes.
So I felt the pain, and I did my crying for weeks. The job I had at the time was great, and they were calling me up and asking me about this and that, and always talking to me. So I had a great group of friends. Her family, I didn't really have a good relationship with her mom or her sister. Her dad I have a great relationship with, and I would talk to him every now and then, but it seemed like I was just kind of cut off from there. So it was just me and the kids. They still love their grandchildren,
Good.
and they still do things with them. And they're like, "Can we go?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, you go. They're your
Awesome.
grandparents.
Right.
That's your aunt and uncle. You can do whatever you want." And they were thinking that I was going to take them in their mind. No, they still have a family that they need too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not just me.
Part of them
Yeah.
too.
So part of me becoming who I am now as a dad was that. It's like, hey, you can go do that. But I've kind of been cut off from that. I don't get invited to the birthday parties, which is fine anyway, because it's kind of awkward. And I don't want to set an awkward. It's for their family now, and they can have their fun. And when I'm there, it's kind of. I did go. I was kind of a little surprised this past 2 weeks. Brandon had his 21st birthday, and they did it at a restaurant, and they invited me to go. And I was like, okay, wow, sure. And it was nice. It was cordial.
Yeah.
It wasn't like my friend who I set up with Jill, her sister. We don't talk anymore. He shook my hand. He said, "Hey, how you?" I said, "I'm good," and that was it. And we didn't have any.
Oh,
Other
really?
conversation,
He's ended the relationship, the
Kinda,
friendship. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I was upset with that. But I went past that too.
Yeah.
I kind of get it.
It
So
was for a season.
yeah, like I said, I didn't get along well with his wife, her
Yeah,
sister
Yes,
anyway.
Yeah.
So he's kind of the happy wife, happy life guy
Right.
too.
So with her
So-
passing, with Leslie passing,
Yeah.
I
lost that whole thing.
you lost that entire big
Yeah,
family,
yeah. My sister stepped up big too and was there for
Yeah.
me a lot.
which is good.
Yeah, and I will say, some of her friends and stuff, they came to me, and like one of her sister's friends' husband was a financial advisor, and they came over and tried to set me with a budget. This was like 3 weeks in and stuff, and I was still just like, whatever. It's like I know I need to pay my bills, and I've never been a budget guy. That's Leslie kind of did all the bills and stuff, but I was forced into doing it,
Yeah.
which is fine. But still, I wasn't like a budget guy, so I just kind of paid my bills, and I know pretty well. I have a good idea that her mom thought I was gonna. Both her mom and sister thought I was gonna fall flat on my face and not be able to do this. And that was, and that's another motivating factor. You know, I'm the type of guy. You know, tell me not to do something, and I'm going to do it better than you think I'm going to do it. You know,
awesome.
So yeah, you know, it's like I may not do something right now, but if you tell me not to do it and I'm not going to do it, then I'm going to do it. You know?
So you were a good dad.
I hope so.
And you've become a better dad.
I hope so.
You were a good husband, and you know, sadly, your wife. For the viewers, we know the story. She chose to end her life,
Yes.
Which that had to have a really huge emotional impact on you and the kids.
Yes.
And when you're dealing with emotions, it can wreak havoc mentally, spiritually, physically. How did you deal with that?
Wow. I immersed myself with my kids and work. You know, I went to work.
That's
I
what
wasn't-
you do?
At the time, I was working for a company called the Floor Corporation, and I was a document control specialist. Basically, I was kind of the middleman between vendors and architects and engineers within our company, and I would put together packages for them, like an engineer. Let's say that we did a lot with oil and gas in Long Beach for the refineries. So a lot of piping drawings and architectural drawings, mechanical drawings. I'd get together packages for that and give it to the architect from our vendor, and they would draw up something and then give it back to us. So I was kind of a go-between guy. Now I'm in construction. I do windows and doors. I actually just left my job yesterday. I was doing automatic doors, and I got a better job offer to move, so I'm going to be doing manual doors and windows.
Oh,
As
nice.
an estimator. I'll be an estimator
Oh,
for
wonderful.
manual doors and windows.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
awesome.
So that, you know, I've just been trying to be more successful for my kids. That's kind of the way I dealt with it. You know, I was like, I needed to find a job. You know, I had a great job with Floor, and I worked there for 10 years. And Floor, they're a contract worker. So they get contracts, and they hire a bunch of people, and then it's a 2-year thing, and then after that, they lay everybody off.
Right.
I was lucky enough to last 10 years
That's
going contract to
awesome.
contract, and then it was
That's
like, it kind of
awesome.
dried up. And
Yeah.
they're like, sorry, we got laid off. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do now? Because I had a great job, 10 years, tenure, I was getting paid well, great benefits. You know, that's huge with kids. All of a sudden now I work for a temp agency, and I'm working for another company here, bouncing around. There was something that I missed, and it's just coming back to me now too. I worked at a restaurant too for a while. I went to school in Pasadena at the Cordon Bleu.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, so you know Green Street, right off of Green Street.
I know that.
Yeah, so I'm a graduate of Le Cordon Bleu. I worked for Spaghettini.
Oh,
Spaghettinis.
Yeah,
Wow.
Beach. I worked for Spaghettini. I've done the Playboy Jazz Festival catering,
Oh.
Beach Grand Prix. So I had a lot of that, and I did that while I was married. And Bryson was born. Bryson was born just after I graduated, and I worked in the restaurant business, and it was going great. And then when Leslie passed, it was like I actually went back to Florida because it was better pay. Culinary school is great, and I love cooking. I love working. So I do it for a lot of people. Football teams, we have big barbecues, and I'm cooking all the time.
Oh, wow.
It's great. But as a career coming out of school, it's not like getting an MBA or business degree or something.
Right.
You get recruited and say, no, we're going to pay you $50,000 a year. You get out of school, from culinary school, you're in the kitchen prep cook.
Right.
You need to cut your teeth. You need to cut your teeth in the kitchen. You're
Right.
not an executive chef. You're not on TV right away.
No, yeah.
Exactly.
You got to work a long time. So I did that, and it was great, but it wasn't bringing in the money. I was making minimum wage basically, and that brought a little bit of stress on the marriage. You know,
Yeah.
I was working at night, so I'd go in at 2:00 in the afternoon and get home at 2 in the morning,
Oh.
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And she worked as a teacher, so when I'm coming in and go to sleep, she's getting up and
Going
going to work, and then there was just different things happened there. So I stopped there and I got a job, and then I saw a friend of mine. So before I was married, I worked at Floor for 2 years, and I got laid off because of that. So within the 6 years, I got married and had a kid. I saw my old boss. We went to dinner, and he's like, "Hey, we're hiring me in Floor." I said, "Yeah." So I got hired again, and it was great. So from there, I worked another 8 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, so
Oh,
it was
that's great.
Yeah. So after that, I had my culinary degree. I didn't really want to go back in. Now I'm single, and I got to have time.
Right.
So I went back into construction and did some construction work here and there. I got laid off from that because the whole housing thing bubble burst, and
Right.
it was all that time. So I just kind of moved job, and luckily I had friends that would help me out. Like I got my job with the automatic door company through a friend of mine.
Okay.
He worked there, and then he moved over to this new company, and then 2 weeks later, he called me up and said, "You need to come interview with this." And I did, and they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I was like, "All right." And he said, "What would you like to do?" I said, "Well, I want to make this company successful. I want to do the best I can here, and I want to train on every little bit of your product that you have." And he said, "Okay, do you have your passport?" And I said, "No, I don't." He said, "Well, when you get hired, you're going to Greece because our factory's in Greece.
Wow.
So I get to go to Greece too."
That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list too. So Athens, I'll probably be going to Greece
Nice.
in July.
Oh,
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, that's
Thank you. And my
awesome.
buddy who
Michelle,
got
you'll
me,
have to show us pictures.
I will.
Yeah.
I will send him pictures. So my friend who got me the job, his wife is great. She's great with my kids. You know, every friend that I have is married. You know, and they're great with my kids, and they're helping me out a lot. So they're like, the kids are coming over here at summer. My kids still have another week of school, so they're out next week. And then they're on summer break, and they'll come over here and we'll, just stay because they played football with her son too.
Right.
So we had a team. Her and her husband, my friend Anthony, we had a team in Pop Warner. He was the head coach. They didn't have enough coaches for a junior mighty might team, and they called me up and I said, "Nope, I don't want to be a head coach. This is too much."
Yeah.
And then Anthony called me. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to take an but I'm not going to do it without you." So we got a team together, and we were really successful doing that too. So it's been
Awesome.
great. So
So
he's a really good friend.
So it sounds like you have a really good community with your family, meaning family that's come around through your sports and
Yes.
your employees and all
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah, I love it. They're great. My friend Anthony's become one of my best friends, and he was one of the guys I met the first year my youngest son. So Bradley had already been playing. I'd been coaching in the league. Bryson started at 5 years old, so he was already out there with Bradley before he could play.
Mm-hmm.
At 4 years old,
Right.
on the offensive line, and he was blocking the no pad, and he's tackling kids, and he was just rough and tumble. And so he's like, "I'm playing football next year." I said, "Okay." So we got him. We went in for the parent meeting, and Anthony and his wife were sitting there, and I struck up a conversation with him. And he's one of those people in your life when you meet. It's like, I've known you. I've known you for all my life. You know,
Yeah.
we just met.
Instant click.
So it was just instant.
Yeah.
It was great. So his family's great. I go over to her mom and dad. Her stepdad is extremely wealthy. He sold a software company and has a private plane and all this stuff.
Oh, nice.
And they live in a really nice. So we do all the holidays over at their house.
Okay.
And they're like Scott's family. You know?
There you go.
For Bradley's birthday last year, actually, he took him up and let Bradley fly the plane and stuff. He got a little,
Wow.
yeah. It's,
Oh,
it's not like a
nice.
jet. It's just
Oh, that was
it's a, oh
joy.
yeah. So over the summer, we flew to Catalina and landed and had like a drink, and we had like Gatorade,
Uh-huh.
and then flew back. It was a really hot day, so we didn't walk down to Avalon. We were just at the airport all day.
Right.
So I said we landed back in Ontario. We was there,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Bradley, you know, when they ask you in school, when you go back to school, you know, what'd you do over the summer?" He's like, "Oh, I flew to Catalina for a Gatorade and came home. I flew the plane."
No, literally.
Yeah,
through the
I flew
plane.
that. And I'm like, "Any video? Here it is." And I took video of him and everything. It was amazing. Yeah, so it's just my amazing family of friends. You know,
It's good
great.
to have a good community.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
sometimes the community that you create around you can be even better than the family.
The
You know, that
women
you
talks
have.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That your friends and things can be sometimes, I guess, I'll just say it in my words, loving or better than your close family sometimes.
Yes.
You can have those riffs and tips.
Yes.
And with your community, you have not only community, but they say a village raises a family.
Yes.
And I love that how
Yeah.
you have the single father, you have all your friends in your village and your community helping you to raise your 3 boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you've been
That's how it's
successful
supposed to
at
be.
it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us about the boys. Now, are any of the boys are they plus size? No.
No, they're all healthy.
No huskies.
No husky.
Okay, great.
Bradley or Brandon, who's my youngest, he's like rail fed.
Okay.
Bradley he's a big kid.
Yeah.
He's not. I explained it as he always comes home and his friends say, "Oh," or not friends, but people say, "Oh, you're fat." You know, he's not fat. He puts a shirt on and it's he doesn't have the gut or anything. You know,
Mhm.
but he's even though he played football, he was kind of lazy in football. He didn't want to do push-ups and sit-ups. Like when it came time to run, he kind of pitter out and be done. And I never pushed him to play, but I want him to play. But I would always say, "Hey, let's do some push-ups and sit-ups when we get done." He wouldn't do it. So I explained he's kind of soft. He's not like, you know,
He's
like
not-
I've worked out, you know, and I kind of.
Would you consider him husky? Just like a little husky, maybe?
I wouldn't even say it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little husky. You
Yeah.
know, but
Does it bother him?
It does. It does bother
doesn't
him.
bother
It
him?
does bother him when people call him fat and stuff.
Mhm.
And I can tell you, he's not. And
Well, in what ways do you think it bothers him?
emotionally,
Emotionally,
absolutely
yeah.
emotionally, yeah.
And do you think with the way that it bothers him emotionally, do you think it affects him in any kind of way?
Absolutely, it affects his self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
It affects his attitude. You know, I know he's got a little bit of Leslie in him. You know, with she was
His mom.
she was clinically depressed. You know, she was on a lot of antidepressants and everything. I can see where he could go down that path. You know, be depressed and kind of get down there. He took last year, so he played football since he was 6, and he took a year off between. So it goes. He started in junior Mighty Might, then it goes Mighty Might, junior Pee Wee, and then junior varsity and varsity, and those are the levels of Pop Warner football.
Right.
So he took off his junior Pee Wee year,
Mm-hmm.
and then he went back his junior varsity and varsity year. And I will tell you, the junior varsity and varsity years, his first 2-3 years, he had his coach was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
One of his, the coach, his wife and her friends came over to our house after football season and decorated our house for Christmas.
Oh.
Did I?
Yeah, you
did I say it on camera?
Yeah.
Sorry. So they were the ones that did that. And then Xbox One just came out, and we had one, and I got the kids, and it was like a battle, you know. So they're like, "Merry Christmas," and they gave us an Xbox One, a brand new one. It was like
Nice.
expensive back then.
Yeah.
you know?
Yes, they were.
So
I know this.
awesome family. And then so he played, and then he took the year off, and that year off he kind of was, maybe getting a little, you know, he was like, ah. So he went back his junior varsity year, and that head coach, Coach Weisel, was amazing. And I coached with him, and him and I got along great. We had a great season. Our varsity year, we won the WestCon championship. We had an undefeated season. It was awesome. He had a great coach. So that helped his self-esteem. He started high school last year, and it kind of started again because he didn't play his freshman year.
Okay.
And we started getting into arguments, and he had to help some anger. He started getting angry. You know, puberty's kicking in,
Yeah.
and you know, I was like, oh man, here we go again. And I found a really good therapist for him to see,
Wonderful.
and he knows he talks to him.
Yeah.
I'm one that's not. I'm not against a medication. A medication is there to help,
Okay.
but a medication isn't there to start off.
Yes.
You know, I wanted to start off. I wanted him to go talk to people, and it has helped immensely. And he's doing a lot better now. My wife's mom was one that it's a magic pill that fixes everything. Just throw pills at it. You know, we're not gonna just here's a pill, it'll fix it. If I need an aspirin and I have a headache, I'm not gonna take an aspirin right away. I'm gonna see if it goes away. If my headache persists, I'm gonna take an aspirin.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
same thing I feel with antidepressants or anything like that. You know, if you go and you talk to somebody and you go through it and you're still kind of down, then we'll go see a psychiatrist
Yes.
and maybe start at a low dose of something and see if we
Okay.
have
Right.
the body's chemicals are.
Exactly.
You know,
We're
we're made because
Yeah.
you know we were created with these chemicals and stuff to help us. You know, like I
Yes.
said, we need to feel things. You know,
Yes,
right.
and that starts when you start masking the feelings and everything. Then you know things start to happen.
Exactly.
And, you know, I don't want to go down that path. So.
So
And I love
as
that as a man and as a father, choosing to seek someone outside of yourself and outside of the family, say, hey, let's get him to talk to someone because he obviously is having issues, changing of hormones, just you know, school, work, homework, missing his mom, just a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
And I love that because when you hear a lot of people going to counseling and speaking to someone, it's mostly women.
Yeah.
But never where it's like, okay, well, my son needs this.
Yeah.
And that shows a strong person within yourself, and then him receiving it, and at a young age, because then he'll grow to understand that it's important, that it's okay, it's not taboo, it's not a secret, it's not nothing to be ashamed of, it's something to be proud of. Because when you take care of your mental health, everything else lines up.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome.
That is great. I was going to say, men always tend to shy away from doctors in general.
Yes.
Guilty.
Okay. You know, that's okay. I can handle it.
Yes,
You know?
until it's falling
Okay,
out.
fine,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good. I don't need
I got
it.
2 of everything anyway, so I'm good.
Right. You know, and it's like, you want me to do what?
Yeah.
You know, be on a low fat, low sodium diet? Or because I have high blood pressure? Nah, I don't have high blood pressure. I'm fine. But it speaks well that not only are you encouraging your son with mental health, but it sounds like even at home, just in general, you as a parent are nurturing him and helping him so that if football is a good way to go for him to build his self-esteem, then you're right there with him.
Mm-hmm.
What other things do you do to send that message, that positive message to him that your best self comes from in here and not from what's out here? Like I said earlier, guys process information differently. Women, somebody calls you fat, and we have two responses. One is, let me take this earring off.
Let's go for that.
Get my heels off.
Okay.
Get these earrings off.
And we're gonna talk.
Yeah.
Okay?
Let's go.
Right. Or we go sit in a corner someplace and cry and withdraw and become, so depressed because, they call me fat, and so that's how we react. Guys, it's very different, Some they'll joke and they make fun of themselves, kind of.
So they make the joke first.
First,
before you make it.
exactly.
And that's how my dad raised me.
That's why I'm 100% that. I'm self-deprecating. It's like, hey, the fat guy's here. Let's have some fun. It's like, all right. So
why
Have
do
you always
you
been a
do
big
that?
guy?
Yeah.
like I said, probably high school I was pretty good shape. I came out, I was pretty good. When I got out of high school and I was working, I worked for a pizzeria place, and I ate pizza all the time. I was a delivery driver in the morning. I'd go and work one place from 10 to 5, and then 5 I'd go over to the other restaurant that we had, and I'd work as an assistant manager until 11 o'clock at night. So I'd work 12-hour days, and all I ate was pizza and pasta. And
That
was it.
Wow. Yeah.
And then back then, I was 21. You throw in some beer here and there. And
There
stuff,
you go.
And it just happened, and I got big. And then when I went to Yellowstone, I became a waiter. I was on my feet all the time. I was hiking. I got back into great shape. I moved to Montana from there. I got on a volunteer fire department. Went through training. I was in great shape in Montana.
Yeah.
I did the firefighter combat challenge, which is great. It was awesome. I was in really good shape. I moved back here and kind of got into that, just relax, and met my wife, and I was good there. We had a dog, and I'd get up early in the morning to walk the dog and stuff. And then after she passed, I think I kind of got big. I started getting more of this, and probably last year I went on a diet. I kind of started this thing where I did intermittent fasting,
Okay.
where I would stop eating around 5, 6 o'clock, and I wouldn't eat again until 11 o'clock the next day. And I tried to eat healthy. I still kind of ate what I wanted, but it was just less of what I wanted.
Yeah.
One of the things was I went to the doctor, and I had this procedure. I had a cyst in a private area, and they drew blood, and it was like syrup. They're like, wow, you're like, I think it was like 400 or something like that for the blood sugar.
Wow.
And they're like, that's like, I was like, holy moly. And I thought about it, and I was like, I don't like, when I say drink, I don't like to drink alcohol. If I'm with my friends, I like to drink. I have a water and I chug it. I'll drink water all day long.
Which is good.
Well, at the time, it was the Arnold Palmers.
Arizona.
The gallon jug.
I
go through probably a gallon a day. And I was like, and I got the light, I'm thinking, it's light, it's great.
No.
And then, so after they drew my blood sugar, I was like, I need to start looking at some labels. And I looked at the label, and I was like, whoa, yeah, per serving, and there's like 4 servings in it.
Yeah,
So I was like, so I cut all that out. I cut all the sugar out, everything, and weight came off me, and I was back down. I was 3 plus,
Okay.
and I got down to around 170 again. I was like, man, I feel a lot better. And then I was at a job that my boss was just a nightmare, and I just kind of was just like stressed.
Will do it.
And I was like, so it started with like one Saturday morning. I was like, I usually make eggs and stuff for my kids in the morning, Saturdays, give them a good breakfast, and I wouldn't eat, and I wouldn't do it. Even the smell of bacon. Oh, and I got strong. And
You passed up the bacon?
I passed up the bacon. Yeah, so I got cold bacon. I got cold bacon at 11 o'clock. I was like, So stress, man. And there was like one Saturday, I'm like, I'm just gonna have breakfast with you guys. And that's all you need, you know?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Just that way. And then it's like, you know what, I
Taste.
did it. I'll go back to it. And then it's, you don't go back. And then it's like, all of a sudden, here it comes again.
Mm-hmm.
So I started this new job, and I'm excited, and so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to start again. So I'm going to start again.
All right.
Oh, thank you.
can-
There you
So
go.
we'll see. I'll send the pictures for that too.
Yeah.
May I ask, has your weight ever, let's say before you got married,
Uh-huh.
you were a little bit bigger, right?
No.
No?
No.
No.
Summer.
I was slim, yeah, I was back from Montana.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was right around probably 240. I mean, I've always been, since my junior year in high school, I've been 225 or above.
Okay.
Okay.
So at this point,
Mhm.
may I ask, are you dating?
No.
Okay.
Why aren't you
At any
dating?
time, that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
does your weight bother you? Are you
does.
confident in your skin?
No.
You're
No.
not confident in your skin?
No.
No. Okay.
No. And I know that in my heart, I mean, I know that's a reason why. Because it's like women look like, you know, he's not a healthy guy. It's like you see all these things, you know, you like online dating and stuff like that. I kind of looked into that. It's like,
Honey, let me tell you.
it's like I'm a guy that's, you know, and it's like, oh, just got back from, you know, these chicks are like in their yoga pants and they're like, just got back from the gym. You know, and I know it's like total fake. You know, I can drive by a gym and say, I was at the gym.
True,
you know,
true,
it's like,
true.
you know, so,
Right.
but like I said, you know, I'm the lovable fat guy. You know, like
I think you're just a level girl.
Like, it's like, no, I know.
Yeah.
Well, like Chris Farley kind of thing, you know, it's like
Yeah.
he's like the lovable fat guy kind of thing. Like I'm gonna make the room laugh. That's what
But
I
don't
want to
be
do.
Chris Farley.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Chris Farley,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
didn't love
I can't say
himself
he's a
enough.
hero of mine because
Yeah.
you don't want a hero
Yeah.
like that. But that's kind of like, you know, he's on camera, not the
Right.
personal life. His on camera persona was like,
Right.
I'm going to make everybody laugh, and I think that that's going to make me attractive to women because you know they say, oh, I want a guy who's funny and stuff like that. But then you go and like look around and you see, it's my whole life. It's been like, because I didn't really date in high school. I've always been really shy and introverted.
Mhm.
I can't say always anymore because I'm not really anymore.
Yeah.
I gotta change that.
Yeah.
But through
I
high
was
school,
gonna say,
yeah.
Wait a minute.
Okay, high school.
You guys like, shut up, man. This is our show. You just stop talking. So through high school, I never really had dates. I never really had game. You know, it's like my
Yeah.
friends, they all had game, and they're dating all these girls here and there, and I was always the fifth wheel. You know,
You
going,
sound like my son.
yeah,
But my son now has a beautiful girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, I
So-
mean,
yeah. Leslie was like my first.
Yeah.
Honestly, Leslie was I was the 30-year-old virgin. You know, Leslie was my first. So it was, you
That's
know,
a beautiful
all through
thing.
Montana. and
Selective,
everything, yeah.
as we were talking
Yeah.
earlier off camera,
Yeah.
being selective is fine.
Yeah.
yeah.
But then I wanted to say also with the dating,
Mhm.
what you think that they may not like, there are women out there that would not mind your size.
Not at all.
Oh, they love
Not
it.
at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
You know,
Can I give my number on the? You guys,
you go down there.
I'll
So if you want,
I'll give
we'll
you
get
some-
a link below.
interested.
give you some cover shots to take.
if you're interested, you know, remember, you know, when we tell you like, click, subscribe,
Yes.
Yeah.
in the comments, make sure that you say, how do we get in touch with Scott? And
Exactly.
we'll look you up. Okay?
We got
But I
you.
will say to you, like I said, so yeah, I think one of my self-confidence things is that, you know, I will never, ever say that to my kids. You know, I want them to be completely opposite the way I was. You know, I say, hey, go talk to them. You know, I'll make them do stuff too. It's like, I remember when I was growing up, my parents would try to make me do stuff like that. Like, there was one time we were going camping, it's a vivid memory, and we stopped on the side of the road, and there was an avocado truck, like a big semi filled with avocados. My dad gave me like $5, like, hey, go over to the truck driver and see if you can buy some avocados. I was like, no, I can't. And I like ran back in the truck, and I was in a camper, and I was like, I can't. And it was weird. I was like, why would I do that? So I make my kids, and they're good at it though too. They listen to me, and I'll be like, I say, hey, you want something? Go ask for it. What are
But
they
you
gonna
see,
say?
that's a good thing because you're encouraging them and you aren't sending a message
Yeah.
of lack of confidence.
Yeah.
Even though you
Yeah.
may
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
one way and
Yeah.
you don't think that what you have and how you look,
Mhm.
you know, for you is a negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For others it's a plus.
I don't want them to see
get
my
it.
negative.
But you don't want
No.
them to see that, and I think that's excellent.
Yeah.
That's a really good message.
They're going to learn it in life, you know. I'm sure
Yeah.
they learn little things about me here and there. Like, we'll go to my sister's house, and Aunt Lynn will tell the stories. Or the worst is my best friend, Brian. Uncle Brian. I play football with him. He's my brother. You know, I love him to
Yeah.
death. And we have a great relationship. I'll call him up. We have big conversations, you know. And we're always like, hey, I love you, man. You know, we're not afraid to say I love you. I love the guy. But you get Uncle Brian with my kids, and he's like, what are you talking about? Your dad did. Woo. I'm like, I did that, but maybe not as good as not as good. And Uncle Brian spills the beans, and I'm like, all right, you need to shut up.
Right.
But but like I said, I want to exude that confidence so they're confident. It helps in life, I mean,
Absolutely.
It does.
like they're
It
being
really
confident
does.
in football and learning how to work as a team. That's a great thing about football. You learn how to work as a team with people. My kids always say that. You're like, oh, how come? Like with a lot of our teams, I don't like them putting their names on the back. Kind of like USC. They don't. If you know that USC doesn't put their names on the back because it's not Team Bryson. It's not Team Bradley. This is Team Titans. We are Titans. This is Team Eagles. Now Bradley's on the Mustangs. It's a Team Mustangs. It's not your team.
I love that.
And we have some kids.
That's a great way to go.
So that helps them to
Yeah.
work. When you go to work, this isn't. When I'm starting my new job, I'm not going in there. It's not a Marshall company.
Yeah.
I'm working for this new company, and I got to get with them and kind of meld with them, and then put my ideas in.
Exactly.
And then we work as a team.
Yeah, exactly. I love
If you
your
don't
team
have a good
spirit.
team, then
So may I ask, in the
Yeah.
dating world,
Mhm.
if that confidence
Yeah.
shines through, no,
Yeah.
when it shines through.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna ask first.
Yes.
Your wife, was she a big woman?
She
a
might-
full-figured woman.
She
I
was
should say.
full figured. I wouldn't say she was a big woman. I wouldn't say she was petite either. She was 5'7", maybe 140 pounds,
Oh,
150.
Okay. So
You
she
know,
was average.
she-
About
yeah,
the
you know,
average size.
If I needed some help moving some lumber,
Yeah.
she could help me move some lumber.
Okay.
Like, hey, grab that side of the couch.
Yeah.
Now, are you opposed to dating a plus size woman?
I'm being completely honest here. I
Please.
don't know. It's like that's probably one of my other things wrong with me with my head. It's like she's got to be the right person because it's got to be the whole package.
And what is the whole package
Yeah,
for
Well,
you?
for me, and I can lump men in this too. Men are visual people.
Yes,
Right?
they are.
very much
Women
so.
feel with their heart.
that's why I wanted
Men
to.
feel with their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm selective. One for my kids. She's got to be bubbly and personable and love my kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But my problem is I have to be attracted. It's like I see some men where they're just like, oh, I dated her because she's a good person, and she's good to my kids and stuff like that.
What man says that?
No,
Some men. Some men. Well, it's like, hey, I was out of a job and she's got a job, so I dated her.
That I
Okay. Here, a little bit more to that.
Yes.
I'm a pig. I'm a pig.
What do you mean when you say?
Man.
Because your choices, it should never be that you're a pig. What you like is what you like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What-
That's
what
how I
I
feel.
like.
So it's not a pig
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I like a pretty face. If she's a
Okay.
full-figured woman, that's great. I like it has to be. I can't. That's a hard question for me.
It's a hard question.
Because
to
if I
pinpoint.
see like a full-figured woman that's beautiful, like there's some models. Oh my goodness, they're beautiful women.
Oh yeah.
And then there's, man, it's
And
hard to explain without sounding, like I want to come on. I'm so far I'm a great guy right now, but then I was like all of a sudden start spewing stuff, and it's like it doesn't come out the right way.
Well,
Well,
it doesn't sound bad.
no, it's not bad.
because your options, your choices
Yeah.
are your choices.
Yeah.
Like sitting here talking. Okay, right now let me put this up. Sitting here talking to you guys, you are beautiful. Your face is beautiful. I can walk down and you're beautiful. Your hair is done. You put yourself together nice. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. I mean, everybody here is beautiful.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're beautiful, and talking to you, it's like there's not the right word, but there's not like a physical attraction, like a loving,
Yeah.
but there's an attraction. It's like wow, I can sit here and talk to you guys and be friends and be great, and down the line or something like that. But it'd be a while, But then there's other people where I see it's like I want to date you right now.
Oh,
It's like you're
absolutely.
beautiful, and I want to
Oh, yeah.
I want to date you right now. Whereas other times I need to get to know them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I think that's
And the get to
everybody.
date and the get to date right now would be I want to get to date you right now, but we're gonna take it slow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah, that's the kind of thing where I'm at.
But that's a very honest assessment of yourself,
Mhm.
and I think not enough men are honest with themselves
Yeah.
on exactly how they feel. And I like what you said that if you saw a beautiful full-figured woman and there was that spark, then that would be
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, it works the same way for women too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's the same thing. We see guys that you know, it's like The Rock.
Mhm.
All right, I think The Rock is.
He's a good looking man. I'm not gonna
You know,
he's a good
and
looking man.
you know, my
I don't mind
joke,
looking at his
yeah,
movies.
my joke has always been, you know, if somebody really wanted to give me a great present, they could give me The Rock. I would have it in my
A
closet.
literal rock for the
Yeah,
rock.
right.
Okay.
I know.
I know what you did for Christmas.
Okay. Not the.
But the rock.
It would be, and I always used to joke. I'd say, I just want him in my closet. Take him out when I need him.
Oh,
You
wow.
know,
Leave him on the shelf.
Wait. Doesn't have to talk. Just stand there. Let me appreciate him, and then you can go back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
well,
All right.
I don't see no one
No. Well, but what I'm saying is, you know, but and I've said this before. I was normally you know, attracted to very tall, very big, muscular guys, you know, big physiques and stuff, and that was more about needing to feel like someone bigger and stronger to take care of me, because I'm a very assertive individual and a very take charge kind of person, and so I needed somebody to take charge over me. You know, Michelle is making faces. People, you know, as if that's not true.
If I can assert something here too, it'd be like, you know, I kind of come off as confident, but inside I'm not. You know, like I said,
Right.
I'm not happy with the way I look right now. You know, I wish like I said, I'm going to try to get down and
That
be
you're
better.
working on it.
And one of the things with me, probably in my psyche somewhere deep down, is a beautiful woman being with me makes my confidence higher, because like, why? It kind of works both ways. It's like, why would she want to be with me because of the way I look? But dang, I look so much better because she's with me. You know, it's like other women would be like, what does he got? That, you know, that why is she with him? Kind of thing. And I'm like, it makes me feel good, but then it also says like, why would she want to be with me? But then I got to work a little bit harder.
Well, did you ever stop to think that she's with you not because of how you look, but because of who you are?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's a great
seriously,
point.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I haven't. No, that's
See,
the problem.
that's the
where
thing,
you
yeah.
got to work on it.
Yeah.
Because a lot can change.
Oh yeah.
We
Yeah.
work on the outer,
Yeah.
and life happens. We were going to have someone else on, and life happened where
Right.
a wife went through having a condition where
Mhm.
beforehand she was,
Mhm.
let's say,
Petite.
athletic, physique,
Yeah,
petite.
Yeah.
But then life happened,
Yep.
and she got a condition and she got bigger. The husband still loves her,
Mhm.
and is in. I would say he's living those true for better for worse through sickness and health vows, right?
Right.
So with you, or with all of us, this can
Yeah.
change.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that
Yeah.
this body of mine could be under a size 16, but will it ever get there? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it has been a size 30, 32.
Mhm.
When it was that, and now that it's where it's at now, I have to, for me, love me. And
Mhm.
my thing was, I didn't want to date a man that was a slim man
Mhm.
because I thought I would be too big, too heavy, not confident.
Yeah.
You know, I would remember the nursery rhyme when we were little.
Jack Sprat.
I don't know.
Was it Jack
They said
Sprat?
it was two
Somebody-
cats. His wife was fat. And
Yeah.
she could eat no lean.
Lean. Right.
I mean, she could eat no lean, and the husband could eat no fat.
Right.
And it was a fat cat and it was
Yeah.
a fat cat and a skinny cat, right?
Right.
And I always saw myself like that, and I would just think that would just be so odd.
Mhm.
Me, this big woman, and this little skinny man, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, she's crushing.
It's really kind of nice.
Yes, but
Getting the bruise.
okay,
I already know what her brain said.
okay.
Let's just let her reflect for a minute. Pause.
But what I was saying is that, with your confidence and the confidence that's
Mhm.
going to come, because you have to speak it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. I understand. The physical and and the outer, but like I said,
This is
you
the
can
easy
change.
part. This is
Yeah,
the easy
that's
part.
the easy
This
part.
is the hard part.
Inside.
This
Yes.
is the hard part.
It's this and that.
Yeah, exactly.
These have to
Yeah.
connect.
Yep.
Because
Right.
once these connect, the
Yep.
heart and the mind,
Mhm.
then all that other stuff
All
will
the
come
rest
together.
is just,
yeah.
you know, it's just the fluff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Literally.
It
the
really,
fluff.
it's just the fluff. Yeah, but you have to, you know, I said, and that's the message that, you know, I think you're sending that to your kids.
Definitely to your
But
boys,
you
yeah.
yourself, which
Yeah.
is, that's why when you said, you know, our weight affects us differently,
Yeah.
you know, but I think at the end of the day, it really is kind of the same
Mhm.
because you have many women who, I mean, to me, it's just saying that,
Yeah.
you know, you have a thought in your head that, oh, I can't be with
Mhm.
because why would he want, or oh, that's just weird, or you know, and that is that little bit of
Mhm.
self-doubt,
Mhm.
you know, that comes in that I'm not good enough.
Exactly.
And the truth of the matter is that we are, and you know, we are so much more than what people see.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's the message that we are trying to send out. We are so much more than what we see. You know, what's in our hearts, our spirits, our minds, you know, overpowers what the body looks like.
Yep.
You know, and we have to, you know, we've got to keep that. And you, my dear, you got a lot going on for you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You
Thank
do.
You know, I kind of have this persona too, you know, like I'm a football coach and I got the kind of big tattoos and stuff, you know, and maybe put out that persona like, that's a tough, I'm not, I'm just a big, it's like,
But that's not the vibe I
Yeah, I
got
know.
when I saw you.
oh really?
No.
Really? Okay.
You
Sometimes
look
like,
like a good guy when I saw you.
Right.
I mean, but that was just my perception.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's something that I think that we, as this community with Rubens Nest, really wants to put out there. That when you see a larger person, a Rubens Nest person, full-figured person, don't automatically box us. Don't automatically
Absolutely.
say, you know, either like we kind of spoke on the last show. Sometimes being bigger is not a choice, and sometimes it is a choice, and sometimes it's just a difference in a mindset to make the difference. But to not assume that it's one thing or the other negatively. You know, like you said,
Yeah.
kind of just sitting here thinking, just talking with us, spending time with us,
Mhm.
I believe now you have a different view of us.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe on the street, whomever that full-figured woman may be, you might see her
Yeah.
and you might think, you know, maybe in the past you may have not maybe looked her way.
Mhm.
And then maybe in the future,
You
whoever
might.
she may be, you might look her way.
Yeah.
And then you say, you know what?
Yeah.
It's more to us than this.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I know you
Yeah.
know that.
I
but
try
you know,
to,
see
I
that.
you know, the way it came off was weird, but I don't struggle with it, but it's like, you know, I just want to find the right person for me.
Absolutely.
You
And
know,
that's- that's what we all want.
and color, skin, whatever, that has nothing to do with it.
Absolutely.
It's got to be the connection with my heart and with my kids, because my
There you
kids are
go.
my heart.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's
Yes,
like it's
they
got to be
are.
them or,
Yeah.
or nothing. You know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I
Now,
love that.
speaking
combination.
about your kids and
Yes.
your heart, tell us about this tattoo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is one that I have here. This one is for my kids. I wanted an anchor put on because I'm the anchor of their life. I'm going to be there forever. I'm going to hold them steady to life. There's a compass in the middle here. The compass, I'm there to guide them, to show them the right way. You know, I was going to try and guide them in the right direction. And the helm here, you know, I kind of steer them in the right. It kind of goes along with the compass, where you know I kind of guide them the way, and then I take my helm and I steer them the right way. And so I put that here where everybody can see it, because I have other tattoos people can't see. I got one on my chest here that's my kids too. All my kids are Bradley, Brandon, and Bryson. They're B's. So I got the Roman numeral 3 with a B.
Oh!
So it's my 3 B's.
I said earlier the bees.
Yeah. So that's
I love it.
So that's and they're right here next to my heart.
Right to your heart,
And then I
yeah.
just have some other stuff like a Bears fan, so I got a Chicago
Yeah.
Bears here.
Oh,
And I got a little firefighter here. It's the Chicken Hawk.
Oh,
okay.
Because he was always kind of the
Yeah.
Chicken Hawk was never big enough, but he had a lot of confidence, you know, a little bit of confidence, and he's like, I'm going to do it. So I was kind of always determined. That's my determined firefighter when I was a firefighter, and then that was my first tattoo. Is Yosemite Sam. I got that when I was,
Oh, there you
I
go.
got that when I was 18 because he was kind of just a guy that would just go do something, and it's like, you know, shoot first, ask question later. type thing.
Yeah, okay.
And I was kind of that guy, you know. I'd just be like, I'm gonna go do this, and the consequences, you know, whatever. You know, that was kind of I got the job in Yellowstone. I'm like, I'm out. You know, I'm gonna do it on my own. And you know, so a lot of that. And then I got like a little family thing on my leg here.
I love that.
Norwegian.
I love
So it's like
that.
it's a Norwegian longboat.
Oh yeah,
And
the Vikings.
the Viking longboat, yeah. And the Vikings have these things called runes,
Mhm.
and runes have different meanings. The rune that's on mine has a meaning of family, fidelity, like law-abiding kind of thing, you know, that kind of meaning. So it's mainly for family, and you know, I'm a one-woman kind of guy too. That's another thing with my friends in dating. You know, it's like I have to find the right woman because I'm not gonna just I don't date.
You don't
I
serial
don't
date.
serial date. You
Yeah.
know, it's like if I'm gonna kiss you, it's gonna have meaning. You know, it's like.
Right.
We're gonna take it slow, but it's probably gonna be a while, you know.
Mhm.
So that's another thing with me too. Is my mentality is
There's nothing wrong with
I know
that.
there's nothing wrong with that.
I think it's awesome. I really do. I think
So
it's
that's
awesome.
kind of hard for me too. Because
Yeah.
women are like, yeah, I don't, you know. But I'm
In the
like,
fast
I'm
lane.
45. I'm 45 years old now. What else are we gonna do? You know, it's not
45 years young.
I'm not 20 anymore. You know, there's not like there's not so many fish in the sea. You know.
There are quite a few fish out there.
Well, there is.
There is.
There is.
And there's one
yeah.
that is just for
Yeah.
you.
But just the
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah, you know, now
This is
it's
for
a
you.
more seasoned woman, you know, and
Mhm.
I love her to have kids. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's even better because then she knows. You
Yeah,
know, it's
then
like a
start-
woman
yeah.
who's 40
Right.
that doesn't have kids. In my mind, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like there's nothing wrong with it. There's
You just have
nothing
to
wrong
find
with
the
a woman
story
who's
out.
40 who doesn't have kids. Sorry.
No, there is.
No, you just have to
I mean, I didn't
But
have mine
but
until I was 40.
when I have kids, you know, it's like you need to understand, you know, and a lot of
Yeah.
women are like that too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just offended.
No, you didn't.
No.
No, there's, I mean,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's a choice for everybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens,
Yes.
sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have my son until I was 40.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My first son was born when I was 30. So,
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it took a while.
I'm
So,
44 and I still desire to have children.
Exactly,
Yeah.
see?
But that's off the table too, though. I don't want any more kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want any more kids.
Yeah.
But if she has kids, it's great.
Mhm.
But the baby thing, well, my kids, Bradley and Bryson,
She said
it
no.
started at 30, and it was 6 years because Bradley didn't stop crying until he was like 3 years old.
Oh my
Oh.
Like
goodness.
he never, I mean, he did, but he just wasn't a good sleeper. You know, he would sleep in the bed with us, and I would get kicked all night long.
Oh.
And then finally he started sleeping. Out came Bryson, and
Yeah.
Bryson was 3 times worse. He had a silent reflux.
Oh.
And that's another thing with Bradley too. He was born with bilateral hydronephrosis.
And
So
Okay, that is.
Yes.
so it's a common thing in boys, but it's usually only one side. So your kidney and your bladder have a tube that connects, and it's called the ureter.
Yeah.
Hydronephrosis is when that tube gets a pinch in it, and your bladder doesn't drain fast enough, or
Oh.
your kidney doesn't drain fast in your bladder, and your kidney starts blowing up.
Mm.
So in utero, the doctor sees both of his kidneys getting bigger, and they see the pinch. So he was born. 8 months later, he had surgery on one side. They go in, they cut the pinch out above and below, they
Mhm.
stretch it and tie it back in. So he did that, went through all this nuclear medicine where they inject you with, and so he had that, tubes coming down for drainage into his diapers, antibiotics that made him
Have to go
made
again.
diarrhea, you know, and it was
Yeah.
cleaning baths all the time.
Bless his heart.
So then, in between that, he had a second surgery scheduled. He got MRSA, which is methicillin resistant.
Yeah,
It's a
MRSA.
staph infection, basically, that's resistant to
Yeah.
the antibiotics. He had an abscess under his arm right here that from the MRSA, and he was in isolation. 1 year old in Chalk Hospital for like a month, and then they had to cut it out.
Yeah.
They finally got that done. He got all healed up. They did the other side. He was fine. They did tests. 3 years old, they did another test. The first one didn't heal right, so they had to do it again.
Oh my
So
goodness.
for 3 years, we had a lot of that.
Yeah.
Bryson comes out. He has silent reflux, which is a reflux that doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't come out. So it
Right.
goes up, burns it back down.
Mm.
We didn't know this. Leslie
He
was
wasn't
already
having a
postpartum.
baby.
Yeah, Leslie already had depression issues postpartum. We go to the pediatrician. The pediatrician's like, I don't really know. And she looks at I'm holding Bryson. When we had Bryson, he cried so much. She just didn't. She's like, I just can't, you know. And so he was on formula, and she never breastfed. I was always holding him. I always took care of him. We go to the doctor and holding him, and she looks at the doctor and she's crying, she's bawling. She says, I don't love this baby. She never bonded
She
with
wasn't
him.
able to bond.
She never bonded with him. He was crying all the time. We go to a party with one of our friends, and they said our son had silent reflux. Ask your doctor about silent reflux. So they're like, oh yeah, try this Zantac. So pediatric Zantac.
Right.
Put him on that. Changed to soy formula.
Mhm.
Different baby.
Yeah.
But that was 2 years, into that. So I had like from 5, 6 years, there was like no sleep.
Oh.
In the meantime, I was going to school. It was just crazy times. But that's what makes you stronger. That's where you look at it. And that's what makes me at 45 now, long story to where I don't want to. I got my kids now. I don't.
And you got your 3 boys.
I have a major story like that. And
I see people with babies now, and I'm like, and I'm looking at my smile. I'm like, I'm so glad you don't get to sleep. And they're like, they look at me and they're like, he's perfect. He sleeps all the time. I'm like, I'm done with you. I don't want to be friends. We're done.
Well, I hate to tell you, mine was the best baby because he just slept. Still does.
All right.
He's 29 and he still does.
They sleep great now.
Yeah, but that's good. But you've been a good dad, and I think that's awesome. I think that you've soldiered on. After your wife decided to, take her life and leave you with the 3 boys. You've done an amazing job. You're delivering a right message. You're helping them to make wise, healthy choices in their life, encouraging them, showing them, to be strong, confident men. And I think that's what we do.
All the men out there, this is nothing that any man shouldn't be doing.
I agree.
Everybody's like, you're amazing. I'm like, I'm not amazing. This is what I should be doing.
Exactly.
That's normal for me.
This is normal.
And people see that, there's tons of them out there, that even my son, he was out of the picture, and I stepped in, and it was nothing for me to step in. I'm not amazing for doing that. It's just what should be done.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate it, but it always, I don't like.
You don't like the kudos.
Yeah,
but
because there's something that should be done. I appreciate it.
But it's absolutely true, and when you find someone who is doing it, I think it's good to say, hey, kudos to you, you're doing a great job.
Yes.
And I'm so happy that you decided to come to be with us
today.
So we also, since this is Men's Health Month, we have an interview with the co-creators and producers of Cookin With Cutty, which is a show that's been on the air for 20 years, and they just recently celebrated with an anniversary special. The show is primarily aired in Hawaii, so the locals know, but if you have Spectrum TV or OCTV, you're able to see all of the shows and online. So they are promoting the show, and we, just want to help out and get the word out, because this show promotes healthy choices, nutritious living lifestyle, not just for kids because it's a kids show, but for their parents as well. I think it's a fabulous show. I love the show, and I think you'll enjoy the interview.
With me today are Cutty Cutler and Greg McAllister, who are co-producers and co-creators of Cookin With Cutty. This show recently celebrated its 20th anniversary of being on air. The show is primarily aired in Hawaii, which we'll find out why in a little bit. But it's an awesome show, entertaining while also delivering a very positive message about making healthy decisions, and choices in order to be your best self. And as you know, here at Rubens Nest, that's what we do. We talk to our people within our community, not about dieting, not about being skinny, not being skinny, but about being your best self, which means make healthy choices. So we thought this would be a perfect fit as we talk about men in the month of June, because that's Men's Health Month. Now, while this show is more geared to kids, it also involves the parents, and there's information that everybody can take away from it. So, guys, aloha. I'm so happy that you decided to be here with us. It's a long time coming, I think, to get something with guys versus always women on our show. So thank you for agreeing.
We don't mind that at all.
I bet. But thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show with us. So give me a little bit of background. Who's Cutty and who's Greg? What are you doing? Give me a little history of who you guys are and how you ended up being co-creators and producers together.
Well, funny enough, Greg and I met in elementary school, believe it or not. That was many, many years ago, and I don't remember what grade, but somewhere between 2nd and 4th grade. And virtually since the day we met, we've become friends. We became friends, but also we've always had this creative side to our friendship, and we've always sort of expressed that creative side in different ways, even from kids. I remember Greg and I making Super 8 movies with my dad's Super 8 movie camera when we were 8 or 10 years old. And it's just, since then it's, let's just say that it's expanded a little bit. We're still doing skits and making up, shows and things like that, but now it's for real.
Well, that's great. Greg, what do you got going?
Yeah, we played in a band for quite some time when we were, I guess, 13, 14, 15, 16. And we were playing dances, and next thing you know, we were in bars, underage.
That's a perfect line for a children's television show.
Then we were ruining weddings on a weekly basis. We were the house band at
yeah, we ruined a few weddings, no question about it.
Hey, you got what you pay for. What can I
I think
it's
the
their
outfits
fault.
more than made up for it, though. The polyester knit, bell-bottomed, one-piece jumpsuits with sequins. Come on.
Oh my God!
The Seinfeld puffy shirt.
We should show pictures of that.
Oh, we'll show a picture right now.
We have a picture.
Oh, awesome. That would be fun to see. I'm sure the audience would get a kick out of that. So now, you all weren't originally from Hawaii. How did you end up there?
Well, I personally, when I was a tennis pro, I became a tennis pro when I hit my 30s, which was only a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
And Hawaii is just naturally if you're a tennis pro, a teaching pro, Hawaii's the place you want to be. So
okay,
I loaded up the truck.
Loaded up the truck.
Hawaii.
Okay, and Greg, did you come to Hawaii following Cutty? Or
well,
great story.
I went to Boston, where I am now, to go to college, and then went into the audio and video production business while he was hitting fuzzy. What color are they? Green, yellow?
Mostly green.
And I guess the spark was, and we've always been in touch and involved in each other's lives. All those band members that we played in the band with were all really still tight. But he sent me a videotape that his mother made. She was in Hawaii visiting him, and he was in an auditorium, he being Cutty, with Lisa the Heart Lady. She was from the American Heart Association, and she was showing vials of fat. This is a cheeseburger. The auditorium probably had over 600 kids in it, and he was doing a jump rope demonstration to a boombox. He hit the music on, and the kids were going wild over what he was doing and what she was saying. And he sent me this tape. He said, do you see something here? I said, most definitely. So that was pretty much where we joined forces. And as Cutty says, the leap of faith, I showed up out there with, I don't know, $50,000, $60,000 of video equipment. And we made our first episodes based on that initial videotape that his mom, Irma, made.
Isn't that something? That's awesome. Moms have a tremendous influence, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And a shout out to the American Heart Association as well, because they kind of put us in a position to kickstart the show. I mean, I was the Jump Rope for Heart ambassador that year, and I was working with Lisa, who ended up becoming the co-host of our show as well. So they gave us the audience. They gave us the everything we needed to develop this the project really. It kind of came out of the Jump Rope for Heart program. We realized how many kids we could affect in a positive way by speaking to, groups of kids at one time, so 600 is good, but when you're on TV, you could be talking to 10,000 or 20,000 or more. In fact, our show has probably been seen by close to 1 billion sets of eyes over the last 20 years. So
I can only imagine.
Right.
So
is that sets or eyes, or are you counting each?
No,
one?
sets. So technically, it would be 500 million, since there's 2 eyes in each
Per-
set. But
okay, all right, got it. You
Who's
guys
counting?
have been on. You've been on. You said for 20 years. So what?
Yes.
Is
I started when I was
what would
11.
you say is the essence? You started at 11. I can tell both of you look so very young, so and I've seen the show and I love the show and I find it very entertaining. What's the essence of the show? What is it that you really wanted to accomplish, by
Simple.
creating this? Say again?
We found that before this there was sports camps and a tennis camp, and we would find that when we educated the kids about something that they were really interested in, they would take that information home to their parents, and we called it the trickle up theory. You've heard of the trickle down theory, but with kids, if they have good information, they can trickle it up as well. So kids would go home and they would give their parents a hard time about, let's say, eating too much salt at their meal, or, just some food faux pas that they learned earlier that week. And they would remind the parents, that's not good for you, or that's not healthy for you, or you should be doing this instead. And so the parents would be dropping the kids off. This all kind of happened during a summer tennis and sports camp that we were doing. This is how it all got started. But the parents would drop the kids off and say, they'd come up to me and they say, "What'd you do to my kid yesterday?" And I'd be like, "What? Huh?" And, they'd say, "Oh, he yelled at me for eating too much salt in my meal," or whatever, So we realized that we had something there, teach the kids and let them bring that home to their sisters, their brothers, their aunties and uncles, and their parents, and trickle that information up. So that was our goal, really. We wanted to put out important information that in an entertaining way that the kids could use to make their lives better, to be the best versions of themselves that they could be. Kids come in all shapes and sizes, colors, you name it. And you love them all. You can't help it. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And we all have situations in which we don't have control sometimes. And the idea here was to put out the information necessary to make these kids the best versions of themselves that they could be, regardless of their challenges in life.
That's awesome. Because that's like I said at the beginning, that's exactly what we try to do and what we want to do. And on a recent show, we talked about the influence that parents have on their kids, especially if they have plus size kids, that you want to build them up, not bring them down. And if you want your kids to be healthy, then you have to live that lifestyle as well.
Yeah, and we weren't leaving it up to the parents. We were leaving it up to the kids. That was the thing. That was the whole idea, was to, some of the parents here in Hawaii and in other places, but some of the parents didn't have good healthy eating habits themselves, So we just felt like this would be one way to spread the message, like I say, trickling up instead of down. The parents are learning things from the kids. I mean, how much better does it get than that?
Exactly. I think that's awesome. What is the thing that you're most proud of about Cookin with Cutty? And I see you took the G off, so it's cooking.
That's right, baby. Cooking.
So it could be anything, that you're cooking with. And I know the show encompasses a lot of different people, You bring in, firefighters, so forth and so on. So what have you, what are you most proud of with,
Well, I'm
the
sure
show?
Greg has a good answer to that, but I'll go first. I mean, I'm proud of a lot of things. My most proud moment, I guess, every time we finish and broadcast a brand new episode, for me, that's my most proud moment each time. We've got about 50 of them. So I've had 50 very proud moments over the years, but this last one that we finished a few weeks ago was perhaps one of my most proud moments. We had a lot of obstacles over the past few years that made it difficult to crank out new shows. So we've overcome those obstacles and trucking on. How about you, Greg?
Well, just motivating the community. You're such a great motivator. And, you and I have, landed in the airport, gone to the counter, and we see someone behind the counter light up, say, "Do you remember me?" And we look at each other and they're like, "Well, I was on your paddle show." And
Awesome.
they're a grown person. They're a grown adult, maybe with kids of their own. We've been at this for a long time.
Yeah, we're ready for a second generation episode.
These people, I mean, we were getting a pizza, and our server was one of the kids. So we've had hundreds of kids that are now adults on our show, and when we do see them, they light up. They just absolutely light up, and they speak so well of their experience of being on the show and being a fan of the show, and maybe even their kids now. So we've touched the community from Hawaii and beyond. We've broadcast as far up into Canada as down far into the Caribbean. So Cutty was serious. Millions, if not more, have seen the show, and that makes us quite proud.
I think that's awesome. So you just did a new episode. Tell us about it.
Great episode. Go ahead,
yes.
Greg.
Very community-based. We fed the community, the homeless of Hawaii. It is a big problem in Hawaii and across the country.
True.
So we went down to the farmers market, supported our local community farmers, bought all this great produce, and we brought it to where they had a Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless, and great little facility. And this great man, Artie, put it all together and has for years, where they feed the community on a weekly basis.
And
That's amazing.
The theme of this episode was giving back. After all these years, we finally were in a position to be able to give back ourselves. And in addition to that, we just thought it would be a great episode to teach the kids about giving back to your friends, your family, your neighbors, and your community. And so in addition to helping Artie and his gang with the beautiful dinner they put on for people in need, we also were able to find a few kids that contributed to their own communities in their own special ways. One kid was an adamant is an adamant recycler. He loves to collect recycling all around the county, including his school. He's raised money for his school with recycling. This kid is just
awesome.
Amazing. He was about a 12-year-old, beautiful autistic young man. And the other young lady was a young lady who had made greeting cards for those who lost their homes in the recent Kilauea volcano explosion here in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
And they were beautiful.
That's awesome.
They had photos and little sayings on them. And she went around the neighborhood and gave them to people who she felt, needed a little boost at that time. So giving back, every show has a theme. As we get older, we get more focused on more important content and themes, and we felt of all the episodes we've done so far, this one had some of the most meaningful content we've ever done. We still make it fun and entertaining. You got to see how I mix my salad dressing. But
I'll show a clip of that right now.
That would be awesome. Seriously, please do. I'd
I'll
love
edit
to
that
see
right
that.
in.
Yes, absolutely. You know, that would be great, because the thing is that, you know, unfortunately, you know, I'm here on the West Coast, and we don't get to see your show on a regular basis. We have to go online to see it, you know, to be able to connect. But wouldn't it be awesome if you were airing on the mainland? You know, there's a whole bunch of kiddies here that could use some of what you got going.
Yeah, it's an important show, and it should be seen everywhere. And that's been recognized in the past. We have had syndication deals in the past, over the years, in and out of them. The most recent one was to over 95 million households once a week on the Me TV network, one of my very favorite networks. And it was a huge reach, you know, just in the the 6 months, or the year, sorry, that we aired the show, 52 weeks, you know, do the numbers, 52 times 100 million. You know, not every person's watching, you know, of course, but the potential sets of eyes you have on that is really amazing. And we'd love to, now that we have some new shows cranking out of our pipeline, we would love to find a new syndication deal for sure. So
that would be
producers
awesome.
Watching.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody who's watching who has any connections, you know,
The thing
send
is,
the
Cynthia,
info.
is that the information that we put out is it's meant for our community. But what we learned over the years is that that information is just as good in your community, or in Greg's community, or in really any community around the country, or even the world, really. So that's when we realized, when we were making this stuff for locally, that's when we realized that it had an international appeal as well, because the information is just as important to everyone else.
I mean, you know, we've got homeless communities here, you know, and what I love, what you were saying about this most recent show, is the two of you are multi-talented, multifaceted guys.
Multi-millionaires. No, I'm just kidding. Oh.
Hey, speak it and it may
just
happen,
kidding.
right?
Just kidding.
You know?
There's my $2 bill.
There you go. All right. But you've been truly blessed. And I love that you pay it forward. You know, I think on a regular basis, when you do something that's special, you know, and it reaches, you know, your intended audience, you know, sometimes you have to take it beyond, and you have to pay your blessing forward. So are there other ways that you plan going forward to do that?
Oh yeah. I mean, we've already done a lot of community related work in our own communities. And we try and find organizations or anyone with an important message, and then take that message and sort of translate it into an episode of our show that not only entertains, but also educates and puts forward the message of this organization or this group, the important message that they have to share. So that's one way. We've started up a foundation. We've gotten involved in the cyberbullying world, in terms of, we started up a foundation called Words Hurt, and that's for the benefit of cyberbullying victims. It's very prevalent in our society today, and it needs to stop, basically. And Greg and I have taken a vow to do everything we can to bring the proper amount of attention and the right type of attention to the cause and the issue, to make this world just a little bit of a better place to live by, being courteous to others online and whatnot. So we have a foundation. We've done, a lot of community oriented work. The newest show that we're working on is something where we were contacted by the Hawaii Physical Therapists Association. They had information that they wanted to put out on concussions, concussion recovery, that type of thing. Kids are hitting, banging their heads a lot. So that's our newest episode. So we're going to be putting out some great information about physical therapy, how it relates to recovering from concussion, and all that really cool information. It doesn't sound funny right now, but by the time we get finished with it, it'll be very entertaining. I can promise you that.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. Like I said, I've seen some of your shows and they are very entertaining. You take some really good topics, you put a great spin on it, and while still, providing some really useful, valuable info. So I think that's great. And physical
Greg
therapy,
has a saying.
Awesome. What's your saying?
Greg has a saying, content is king. And
yes.
we always live by that motto. Maybe he can expand upon that a little bit more, but we've never concerned ourselves with, well, let's just say that we concern ourselves much more with the content than we do with the actual level of production. Let's just say it that way. I don't know. What's your thought, Greg, on content is king?
Well, it speaks for itself, but it's something that I hope I'm helping Cydia with Rubens Nest. I think she's followed that very well. Some of the deep level stuff that she's uncovered and exposed to discuss is something that we've been doing as well. So I like the synergy of working with Cydia and Rubens Nest as an extension of helping the community with information, valuable information. And of course, what we do is take some serious topics and try to wrap that fun around it. That's our challenge. But it always seems easy to do when you have someone like Cutty who can juggle an apple, an orange, and an egg and eat the apple all while juggling.
I got my egg, stuff right here.
The egg lands on his face, but that's what keeps the kids highly motivated to pay attention.
Let me tell you, you have to be a really good juggler to get that egg to land on your face. Okay, I'm just saying, not as easy as it looks.
I gotta say, you are a good sport.
Yes, well, with those like that, it's a hard miss.
Yeah, you are a good sport, because I've seen some of those episodes where
Greg and I grew up in the era of the Three Stooges, and so some of our production is reflected by our influences as kids. And some of my funniest moments, I mean, it's a little, the Stooges was a little bit violent, of course, but some of my favorite moments and I think some of our funniest moments on the show are when somebody, usually me, but we get Greg once in a while, we'll take a pie in the face as an example, or a little slapstick, to keep everybody's attention thrown in there is very important. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's awesome. And I am very, very pleased that the two of you decided to come and allow me. I wish you actually could be here in LA. It would have been fun to be in studio with the girls. They would have had a blast.
We've had our chance once before and thoroughly enjoyed it during your very first episode, I think. And
yes.
So
and we got one coming up. We're heading to Hawaii, so to celebrate my 70th. So
no,
get you on the show. Yes.
No.
Yes. Yeah. See, I make healthy choices.
Shine on,
I make
girl.
healthy choices.
Shine on.
Yeah. Hey, what can I say? So that'll be fun. And to the viewers, Greg is our producer, which I'm sure you recognize his name from our shows. And Cutty is our announcer, and it's really great to have them both.
Thank you very much, Cydia. Really appreciate that. No, I'm just kidding.
He does so much better, doesn't he, when he announces the show?
I'll edit that part out. Don't worry.
Okay, but we have a great time working with these guys, and they have a super message that they're getting out there, and I wish you both the best on what's next and the next shows that you'll be doing. And I sincerely hope you do get a syndication deal, because I really do believe everybody should see your show. It's great. It's just, you know, not everybody wants to make healthy choices, and not everybody can give that information in a way that it's palatable. You know, it's kind of like Mary Poppins with a spoonful of sugar, and you guys are giving not quite sugar, let's say agave. Spoonful of agave, it's healthier, you know.
You're so clever.
And a lot of really, really, really good info so that people can be their best selves. So mahalo for being on the show with us today. And
Thank you
hope
for
to
having
see
us.
you soon. Absolutely. Hope to see you in Hawaii. You'll be on the show. We look forward to it.
You're gonna have
and
me
we
as a
look forward
first as a live guest. Is that what you're saying on your show?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
A live guest. That'll be awesome. Okay.
Wow.
All right, guys. Take care. And as we always say, you know, get up, get out, and do something that's uniquely yours. You're both doing something that's very unique. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Ahui ho.
Aloha.
Well, I sincerely hope you enjoyed that interview. I enjoyed talking to the guys. They are very special to us. And I sincerely wish them well in continued success with the show. Okay. And I'm really glad that you guys were here with us today and able to, share the time with Scott and hear his stories and be encouraged to be good dads out there.
Yes.
You know, make healthy choices for your kids. Do
that
right by
example.
your kids. Be an example. Be a role model. You know, nowadays I see kids sometimes and they are just, like blowing in the wind because they don't have the direction that they need. There are a lot of single moms who don't have dads in the pictures, and you never really hear a lot of conversation about the single dads out there who are, putting it in, putting the time in every single day.
And doing it well.
And doing it extremely well. So we sincerely hope that those of you out there who, if you are a single dad, kudos to you too.
Yes.
Keep up the good work. Keep doing it, and make your kids strong, whether they're female or male, okay? And I especially say kudos to dads bringing up little girls.
Because I'm a product of one.
There you are.
My dad singly raised me, and he did well.
Yeah, I came from a home with mom and dad, but I was a daddy's girl, and I miss my daddy. Interestingly enough, the three of us, all our dads are not here, so with Father's Days, 4 of us, Michelle's too, that's right. All of us here, we miss our daddies, and I think we were all pretty much daddy's girls.
Yes.
So we know what it's like to have a really, really good dad who just encourages and supports. So thank you. And thank you to all of you.
Yes.
So guys, this is it. This is the wrap-up time. Thank you for coming and spending time with us yet again. We've got a lot more coming up. We're going to be taking a walk on the wild side in July. We're going to be checking out a naughty girl party.
Oh.
Woo!
I'm ready. Can we go there right now?
I do have some free time in July. I can clear my schedule.
Fly back from Greece, right?
I'll be nice and tan.
So you'll want to come back and tune in for that one, okay? Yeah, we're going to be expressing our independent spirits, So, don't forget, click, like, subscribe, and share. All right? And of course, as always, you can reach us, info@rubensnest.com, and our Facebook page. So, and our Instagram page. Can't forget our Instagram page, all Rubens Nest. So definitely, we hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for being with us again. We love you. Bye.